Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. This is a Saturday and my plate I was waiting for turned up yesterday, and that's the plate that goes on that side, on that bearing. What I've been doing is just tidying up bits and bobs, and been quite busy with work this week, so I've not really progressed anything other than what you saw in the week with taking the bearings out of the mag side housing. So we'll be sticking new bearings in. What I've decided to do is I'm going to clean up all of this housing once it's on, rather than mess around making tons and tons of mess and noise and dirt everywhere. I can do it, and then I can polish up what I can get to on the engine. This is the crankshaft that came out of the scooter. I've removed the old liner for the mag side bearing. Like I was saying, I don't know, you know, with it being a few days, I've lost sort of train of thought what I was doing in the last video, but there is a bit that I've got like an intermediate bit to this where it's just sort of going through the crankshaft, and what I've done is I've stuck on the oil seals and I've got the bearings out, and I was just checking that for true. The reason why I'm not showing you checking it for true is obviously that most people don't have this equipment. So it's just, you know, if you're ever unsure about a crankshaft, take it to a local dealer, your local shop. We're quite lucky in the Midlands, we've got quite a few around, MSC to name one, that can stick it on a jig and just sort of go through your crankshaft and check it for true. And obviously they've got the skills of knocking the webs around to balance it should they need to. This is it's an Indian crankshaft that AF have obviously put a new con rod in, big end. There is no play, you know, it's perfect actually, but it's not done millions and millions of miles anyway. I just want to show you what the sequence of building again is. What I've done is I've bought a nice big can of brake cleaner. I find that the easiest thing to use. We're going to be using a bit of heat to warm up the casing and the mag side. What I've done is I've made myself a couple of clean rags, and I'll be using them to clean out where the bearings are going. As you know, I use Koyo bearings, and that's the mag side one. With its Koyo markings on. I don't know if you can read that or not, but that's going to go into this casing, the mag side flange. So we've got the oil seal, which yeah, it's on there. Sorry, it's that one. I was just going to say I can't remember what I did with the oil seal, but I just stuck them on there just to show people. So we're going to be able to build that, and we're going to be able to put the crankshaft in, and depending on how I go today, and if I get bored or not, I might actually finish all the top end off cleaning it. The crank's definitely going in on these videos. This is the drive side bearing, again a Koyo, brand spanking new. It's just my personal preference, like I say. SKF, etc. They're all good bearings. I mean, this had Indian bearings, as we know from looking at previous videos in the series, and they won't do for me. But my friend was right, because obviously I'd never taken this engine apart, and it was him that said, you know, don't be surprised if they're all Indian bearings, which I was actually, because I've got all the receipts for this engine when it was originally built, and you know, it wasn't exactly cheap. So we still got to take away, turn you around a bit, we've got to take out the lever, the brakes need cleaning. I've got got to change these washers on here, which I've got, but I want to, you know, I want to put some grease, and I think there's a rubber O-ring missing off of there. I haven't taken it apart, so I don't know for sure yet, but the brakes need cleaning. If you were watching some of the earlier videos I made, this was absolutely smothered in grease for some reason, and you know, grease and linings don't go. They don't go in my experience anyway. So what I'm going to start on doing is I'm going to spray some brake cleaner in here and give it a good clean out. I'll give that a shake. I'm going to spray in there and find somewhere for that to sit, and that's my cleaning one. So I'm after this literally being clean enough to eat your dinner off of, which is nowhere near that at the moment. But I mean, this is tedious again. It's something like most things when you're cleaning. It's just probably best not to show stuff on the camera, because it is just literally, I'm cleaning up inside here, and I'm going to grease up the bearing, put the bearing track on here so that the crankshaft's ready to go. But there is quite a bit of cleaning up to do on both sides. The thing I don't want to do though is to take off, which it is doing. so we'll have to retime the engine again. So oh well, life's a beach. But I've got quite a few filings on that I need to get rid of, and some grease and what have you. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut away from this and then recut in again. Like I say, time lapse to me, you know, I'm cleaning all this up, so it's going to take 10 minutes or so, but time lapse on my camera I haven't really mastered yet. I will play around with it when I get 5 minutes and see if I can you know, put something on that you can see what I'm doing, and maybe, you know, half an hour's 10 minutes or so, and you know, because it is quite boring. But the cleaning parts are like anything mechanical. You don't want any crap in any bearing or on any race, you know, you want it completely clean. I did just wipe down and put a light smearing of grease on the crankshaft, and you know, I'll put some more in when I build it. And I just took off some burrs. It was quite rough where they bashed it to line it up, so, but it is, you know, it is bang on, so I can't really grumble, as it should be, I suppose, in a tuned engine anyway. But there are, you know, a couple of burrs that were on there that I've taken off. But it's just, you know, step by step you get there, and it just takes a little bit of time to get there. So, and Rome wasn't built in a day, as they say. So I'm just going to cut off and I'll pop back on in probably about 10 minutes or so. Right everybody, I've cleaned up the mag housing. I've not gone overboard on it. I've just taken off all the burrs and made sure inside is clean. I've also cleaned the circlip and the spacer. That's the spacer that came out, perfectly usable again. If you've watched the other video on removing the original bearing, you saw that I used heat and just banged it out against the top, which is wood. So you know, I've not used any hammers or whatever on it. So what we've got to do now is warm up this again. So I shall fire up the gas. Put some heat into this. Again, you don't have to go overboard. Right on cue, it goes off. You don't have to go all overboard heating this up. You know, it's only got to swell enough to get the bearing and the oil seals in, the spacer, etc. So 5 minutes or so should be warm enough. You can poke it in the hole if you want and warm up that. I just find because aluminium acts as a heat sink, get the heat in, you're after getting it in around where the oil seal and the bearing's going to go, so you really want it warm there. Like I say, spit test is warm enough, and right on cue it dies off again. I'm going to have to get myself one of these electric ones, I think. Gas, I'm always finding it keeps cutting off if you go too close. It don't owe me any money, so I've had it years and I've built loads and loads of engines and stripped down paint with it. Like I say, I'm not going mad on this. I'm going to melt the oil seal before it has a chance to actually work, so. And what I'm going to do now is one more on this side, just go around if my torch stays long enough, which it hasn't. Really annoying. That'll do. I can feel the heat from there. Turn off the gas. And bear in mind this is hot, so I need my oil seal first, which is this beast. I'll take off one of my gloves because I need to make sure everything is clean. So just give the oil seal a wipe. You can put a bit of a dab of grease on it if you want. I never do. I should just push down inside without any hassle. And seat. Where's my one there? Excuse me a minute while I just push that in. So all I've done is I've pushed that down, not hammer, just finger tight, and put the spacer in now. Can feel the heat from that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the bearing with the writing inside, so it should just fall in. Might be a bit hard to line up to begin with. There you go, that's already dropping in, isn't it? What I can do is just give that a little tap. There you go, it's dropped in. That's home. So bear in mind that the writing side of the bearing you're going to be able to read on the crank. Hence the reason for doing that. Now the outside oil seal goes towards the crank because you're sealing against the gases from the crank. So again, stick that one in there, and it should just push down like the other ones did. Yeah. And what I do for this, I don't know if you've seen me do this before. If you get the locking ring that holds the rear hub on, I've got a few spare. Just put that on the end. It actually fits that perfectly. So you can just literally push that in. And it should go in enough to get your circlip in. I think that's in. It's not on that side. For some reason it's in apart from that lip. That won't be no good, but this one should do it. Should be able to just push it in. There you go. And make sure it's in all the way. When this is level, you're in it far enough. And now this circlip that holds all the gubbins together, Again, give that a quick wipe. Take off this. Surprised how warm it gets. And then I'm just using long nose pliers. It's a bit of a faff, but it works. And just bring them in. That nearly went in first time, which is a bit unbelievable, to be honest. Oh dear, that is hot. And that's in. What you do is then, it's just make sure it's around, move it around so it's in the groove. Yeah. And what I like to do is put the circlip bit in the bottom, but hey ho, it's in the top, so that's fine. So if I now show you, it says picking up the hot metal. So if I now show you, we've got our oil seal, our bearing, our spacer in between the oil seal and the bearing, and our top oil seal which goes onto the crankshaft. I'm just going to make sure that's home, because you can never tell with these. Yeah, it is. What I'm doing is just making sure that that circlip is all the way home, and it is. It just sits in a groove in there. And before we do anything else, because I've had rubber gloves on which melt fairly easy, I'm just going to clean up around with some brake cleaner again. Wrong rag, I need the clean rag. Spray a bit of brake cleaner on there and just give that a wipe so it's nice and clean. And we've got to grease that up in a bit, but who let the dogs out, eh? So that's our mag side done, all bar greasing. I never grease up warm mag side, so put that nice somewhere safe to cool down. Then we're going to be doing the crankshaft, sorry, the drive shaft next.